We're live on the YouTube, boys and girls. Hello.
Hola.
Hola, me llamo Cristobal. ¿Cómo está?
Miguel.
Oh, hola, Miguel. ¿Dónde está el baño? Where's the bathroom at, man?
That's it. That's all I know, guys.
Blow out the thing. Hello, boys and girls. It's Chris. That's Mike. It's the Chris and Mike Show.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, what's up, ladies? It's just us today. We had somebody coming on that deemed herself the survivor, but apparently she has not survived since the last time we instructed her to come on the show today.
Well, we hope she survived.
Well, yeah, it's just, that was my clever plan, whereas I don't know what her... We never dove deep into things, as far as ins and outs of what we were going to talk about, but... It's okay. We got plenty to talk about because,
In the grand scheme of things, I'm voting for flaking out versus death.
Right. Well, I didn't want to make that assumption of death. I just was being comical about the surviving,
I got it.
I'm a survivor. I'm, whatever it is. So there's that. So what's going on, Mr. Mike Michaels?
I'm enjoying some Don Francisco's with honey.
Don Francisco. I had some Don Francisco earlier today, man. I like the butterscotch stuff still. It's still my favorite.
I've been stuck on it. So, I'm an Amazon Prime customer, and with Amazon Prime, they tell you how many times you've ordered each thing, which sometimes can be quite comical. I've ordered those 3 cans of coffee 37 times.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah, I've been drinking that for a while.
I think I'm only on our 4th or 5th jar of it.
Well, you're a newcomer. So.
I'm a newcomer. And how much Don Francisco coffee do you drink on a weekly basis? Like, do you go through the entire can in a week, or does it take a little bit longer?
Oh, it's longer than a week for sure.
Is it from Colombia or Peru? Because I want to know, where does Don Francisco come from?
It's from Colombia. It says so right on the can.
So is Don Francisco, is he Don? Is he Italian Don? Is he like Gotti? Like he just runs an empire in Colombia?
No, I'm going with he's probably... what are they in Colombia? They're Colombian.
You're Colombian, a political refugee from Colombia. My name is Tony Montana. What you talking about, man? What you talking about?
Kind of
like an octopus coming out of my ears, man. Okay?
Kind of like Juan Valdez and his faithful goat.
Yes. I remember that when he was walking on the ledges of the mountaintop, right? And wasn't that the coffee commercial where the dude in New York City opened his window?
It became a funny thing to say in the 90s with all those, up and comers that thought we were cool.
Right.
Everybody just started saying Juan Valdez and his faithful goat. It was just funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you got it. That was the commercial.
Okay, cool. I thought so. So you saw the thing, we can do headlines like that CEO, which I don't understand what the big deal is about. Like the CEO was caught on a cam, like a kiss cam at the Coldplay concert. You see that shit? And it's like all the
I
rage.
did not. Educate me.
It's some CEO. He's at a Coldplay concert, a CEO for an astronomy company or something, and he's at the Coldplay concert with his girlfriend while his wife's at home with their kids.
Oh.
Right, but I mean, I don't I would never do that in my relationship, right? But to
No.
each his own. But we don't know the other side of that coin, and everybody's, oh, big deal about all this shit. I'm like, well, is that really news? Is it really relevant? Does it affect his job as a CEO? Probably not.
So I think I think I've said it on here many times, and I'll probably say it many more till people get sick of it. But
Okay.
you're right. Life is all perspective, right?
Right.
So while on the face of it, yeah, that
Yes.
doesn't seem like it would be news, but most people are looking at the news like it's news. And what I hear when you say that is it just proves to me that the news is what it is, entertainment. Right?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. 100%.
That's what I hear when you say that headline. It
Yeah,
just proves
because-
that it's entertainment.
Right, because I don't care. I'm not losing sleep because the guy's
No, I don't give a
standing on a
shit.
kiss. Right. So I don't know why people are. I mean, there's funny stuff going on. Like somebody created the AI thing. Like, AI nailed it because as soon as they came into play, the dude picked up the chick and threw her off screen and then jumped the other direction.
And I guess I should be careful to say what I mean by I don't give a shit is I don't know the guy, right?
Well, no, right.
If he's cheating on his wife, I care a lot. That's wrong. You
Yes.
shouldn't be doing shit like that. But I don't know, and you don't know, and
Right.
they don't know either, and that's your point. So
Yeah, it's like nobody understands what the dynamic is because it could, we had somebody on our show he's in an open relationship with his wife, right?
Correct.
And she has a hall pass for the rest of her life, as does he, and that's their dynamic,
and there's a lot of that out there,
Right,
More,
and
more
there's-
than most people know.
right? And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you as a couple decide, right? So when I saw it, and then I started seeing more and more of it, and then people are posting it, I just kind of like, that's what you're focusing on, like,
Well,
like,
and it's funny that you bring that up because I didn't know that story, but I literally yesterday, true story, just had
Yeah.
this conversation about human beings in general.
Yes.
In that we have not lived as monogamous beings
No.
for very long in the context of humanity, right? So
Right,
if you
right.
go from, we discussed it on the last show, I think, mitochondrial
Yeah.
Eve, we can trace everybody back to this one woman, right?
Yes, we
So
did
from
discuss
that point forward,
Yep.
we have lived in mostly tribes of 50 to 100 people,
Uh-huh.
and nobody knew who each other's kids were because it was necessary for survival, right? We were not monogamous.
No, it was communal sex. It was Woodstock on steroids, but it was an everyday aspect part of life.
Correct. And the men hunted and the women gathered and did the cooking
Right.
and taking care of the kids and whatever,
Right,
but
right.
there was no you're my woman and that's my man, and that's not how people have lived. This is a new concept to humanity. So
Right.
if you want to know why men cheat a lot, it's because it's still in our DNA, right? They're part of that is ingrained in that in our species. We're supposed to procreate and keep the human population going forward. We didn't. There was a time you said it. We got down to less than 2,000 people.
Yeah.
We could have never dreamed there would be 8 billion people on the planet, right?
No, because those 2,000 people did so much.
Here's
that
a
they
here's a fun thing to do since you like the Google machine.
Okay.
You were born in 1970.
Yes.
Okay, look at the United States population in 1970.
Okay.
This is fascinating. Because then we'll look at the United States population today, and it's crazy how fast we populate this planet.
Yeah, especially with just 2,000 people, because they had to be doing it every day. Like,
I'm going to
not-
guess in 1970, the population was around 215 million.
U.S. population. In 1970. Come on, man. That's not what I asked.
Sometimes
So
I
this,
just,
this,
ladies
this is
and gentlemen,
what came up.
sometimes I
Yeah.
just like to hear him argue with the Google machine.
this is what I asked. U.S. population 1970. This is what I got. Okay, legit. What percentage of the U.S. was white in 1970? I didn't say that. I said U.S. population 1970. So then it says thus 65% of the U.S. population identified as white only. Some identified as both as white and a member of a racial/ethnic minority group. This is in contrast to 93% identifying as white in 1970, U.S. Census 1971, 80% in 1980, 76% in 19. I asked the population, man. Like that's what I asked. It's stupid, man.
Okay, so sometimes it's how you ask. So one thing that I learned with the Google machine, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're
Yeah.
listening and you're smarter than me, I apologize, but this might help people that are right where I was.
Right.
Don't use the term "what is." So So I just put U.S. population in 1970, and it came right up: 203,302,031 people.
Okay. Well, fuck you, Google.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to be smarter than the Google, and that pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now U.S. population in 2025.
Is that you doing it on yours, or I need to do it on mine? Because we don't have it on mine.
I'll get it.
Okay. How many people live in America? How many people live?
331 million.
Well, according to this, it says 340.1 million in 2024 because all of a sudden, when I typed how many people live, that's what populated 340.1 million.
So that's 120 some million people.
7.5 million in Arizona. 7.5 million in Arizona. Now, here's a cool little graph I see. So, in 1940, we had 484,000 people in Arizona.
1940, there was 400, just short of 500,000 people.
Yep, exactly. So in
Wow.
What is that? 60. In 1960, we jumped to 1.4 million. In 20 years, boys and girls, Arizona's population increased
almost tripled in size.
Well, I was going to say over a million, like legit,
doubled in size,
over a million people in that year. And then in from 1960 to 1980, it doubled to 2.7 million. From 1980 to 2000, it more than doubled at 5.1 million. And in 2020, it went from 5 million to 7.4 million, which is where this says we hover today. 7.4 million was the census in 2024, or 7 point, yeah. So that's crazy.
We're like ants. We
really
are.
We're more like rabbits, man. You know?
No, I mean just the way that we keep building.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Probably where we shouldn't. We were never meant to live in that valley in the middle of the desert.
No.
If it wasn't for the Indians, I don't think Native Americans.
Native Americans.
God damn it!
It's okay, man. You know, this is not a politically. This is not a politically correct show. The Hohokam built the canal systems.
But I like to.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's always good to be politically correct, and in some facets.
That was one of the things that I learned when I moved there that I found fascinating, though, is that the Native Americans actually built the waterways from the mountains down to the valley so that they could grow food and live, and can't survive without water. So
So here's the Google machine. Now, this is from CNN. So Netflix shares fall as weak dollar-driven forecast fails to impress, whatever the hell that means. Where's there? Oh, yeah. No, that's not what I saw. Something I was like, oh, that looked interesting.
Well, there's a lot of those things that are starting to price themselves out of existence, man.
Yeah.
Every year they keep, YouTube TV, when I first signed up for it, was sub $60 for the first 6 months. And then it was like 62. Now it's like 82 or 84.
Yeah.
They just keep raising it every quarter or 6 months or year. They're just going to price themselves out of existence. They'll be like cable. People will have to choose which one or two they're going to have, or they're going to have to, I don't know, lower their prices.
Well, it's that thing like Nick and I were talking about the other day. Like, we have all these streaming things. We need to go through and just figure out which ones we actually watch, and then just get rid of the rest, because it's a waste of money. I mean, like Paramount, I get from a friend of mine, so that's cool.
I wonder who that could be.
Disney, we get from Sky, so that's cool. But so then we have Apple, we have Hulu, we have Netflix, YouTube TV. What else is on there? Peacock. And the reason I got Peacock, to be honest with you, is because they had the super fan episodes of The Office.
Right.
And then there's other things that trickle on that one.
And I get that. Amazon, I keep Netflix because I love Seinfeld.
Right. Amazon Prime, I don't think we ever really watch, every now and then.
I love Amazon Prime. I'll send you some stuff on there that I think you'll like.
Okay. And when we were up at Nick's cabin over the 4th weekend, I was on Bruce's, Nick's partner. I was on Nick's husband. I was on his Apple, right? It was his Apple, yeah. And there's all kinds of shit I didn't know exists. I'm like, that's fascinating. But then it was his account. So when I got home, I couldn't find that shit and I didn't think to remember. But there's some really fascinating documentaries on Apple TV that I wasn't aware of. And I got to kind of dive into that and see what.
Yeah, maybe I should go through that again too. I
Yeah.
might have overlooked some stuff too.
So 90s kid. Okay. 90s, like 1990, 90s kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's a documentary. It's a really cool documentary, actually. Soel Moon Frye, aka Punky Brewster from our generation, right?
Yep.
TV show.
Oh yeah.
Well, during her lifetime as a thespian, she carried a camcorder with her the whole time, the entire time. So like there's house parties at her house because her neighbor, she grew up in a very working class single level ranch style home in California. Like you wouldn't think it, but if you think about how that all plays out with a child actor, they don't get their money till they're of age. They get paid their working wage, basically whatever they're
Unless
supposed
you're
to.
Gary Coleman and your parents rape
Fuck
all
you.
your money from you.
Right.
Yeah.
So a very middle class lifestyle, but anybody and not anybody, but almost all of the people that were around the Punky Brewster era, as far as other fellow actors in that same age range, all of them at some point in time, they all connected with each other, which I think is because of the age and
Oh,
back
sure.
then, Hollywood is different than it is now, right? Because it was a more close knit, type. But I mean, think about. I mean, Saved by the Bell cast.
Well,
Punky-
and they would have that thing that you like to talk about that I don't think I ever put into words as far as being in a band together. Nobody will ever have that feeling because you were never
No.
there. So they have that
Yeah.
common ground of if you weren't a child actor, you don't know what it's like to have to
Right.
work 16 hours a day when you're 10 years old, you know?
But and the cool thing about it was, so you have all these, and it shows all her stuff. It shows the cute little Punky Brewster growing up and all the little innocence, right? And then there's a segment where she was out partying with someone she knew, passed out, drunk, stupid thing, and then when she came, basically she lost her virginity because the guy took advantage of her, because when she came out of whatever this was on the show, the house room, whatever, he was like, "How does it feel to not be a virgin anymore?" And she was like, "What the fuck?" Like, because she went through a whole party stage with.
How old was she? Teenager?
No, it was I think it was after she was 18, but probably after 18, because that's when she kind of started, her and her core group of friends, they all kind of started dabbling with the different kinds of drugs and the beers and the partying, because she specifically, I don't know if you remember this or not. I vaguely do, because I could care less about women's breasts. But she had developed from like nothing to like double D in a span of like 3 or 4 years. So once Punky Brewster ended, she was being typecast just for the boobs. Like that's how she met
Yeah.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
So
right?
her I wouldn't remember because I guess I never considered Punky Brewster to be hot, I watched the show, but yeah,
Right.
I wouldn't have remembered that.
Yeah, no. So, but she had developed so dramatically that she actually had breast reduction surgery at a very young age.
We had a
But
girl
that's-
go through school that had to have that done too.
Yeah,
in high
and,
school.
genetics suck sometimes, right? And,
Yep.
But that's how she met. That's how she ended up becoming friends with all the Saved by the Cast Bell, because they cast her on that show as Mark Paul Gosselaar's character Zach was like wowed by the boobs. But that was all her stuff was. She went through this time frame, and she even talked about it on this documentary. It's like, I went from being a child, legitimately, then all of a sudden overnight looking like it developed overnight, which it didn't. But it, for all intents and purposes, if you didn't see her every day, all of a sudden you see her 6 months later, but then the way they treated her dramatically changed. She was being treated like a child. And then all of a sudden, because of, the C's and the D's that she was, developing into, the adults started treating her differently. The men started treating her differently.
Sure.
Because misogynistic assholes, sexism, all that kind of jazz, focus right on the boobs. Now, if you've never really, I don't want to say participant, but if you've never really been affected by that, here's a quick story. So Nikki and I had won Fox Sports, when the Diamondbacks were still Colangelo owned. They had this contest, right, for charities, and I won it, which I don't know how I won it for $1,000, but it was an entire behind the scenes tour of the Fox Studios at Bank One Ballpark, behind the scenes of all the media at Bank One Ballpark.
Nice.
I know we've talked about it because I met Greg Schulte, who's a total prick.
Yeah,
yes, Greg Schulte.
Everybody doesn't listen to every episode, so yeah,
right.
tell it.
No, I think you and I had this conversation, but so
I think we've talked about it on here too. But it's a cool story.
Yeah. Okay, so we met Greg Schulte, prick. I said it twice. You're welcome. Joe Garagiola Sr., super nice guy, like just amazing, and he actually signed a baseball for me. I have no idea where it is, which sucks because he was just a superhuman. But we got to see all the behind.
I'm jealous you met him. I always thought he was really cool when he did the color commentary for the Diamondbacks. He seemed like a genuine human being, so that's good to hear.
And that's how it came across. Where when we walked into the booth, Schulte and him were in there, and Schulte really, you thought that we were intruding on his life's work. Like
you could tell he was put out by the fact he had to do that.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
I hate
that. And didn't pretend. Like I left there thinking, you're a dick. Joe, you're amazing.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and if it would have been in my world today now, I would have told Schulte, you're a dick. Like, really, dude? I won a contest for Diamondback Charities to be here. You can give me 5 minutes of your precious time because all you do is sit on your fat ass and talk about a baseball game for 4 hours. So really, dude, really? You're not that good.
Right. Like, you're living most people's dream that love baseball. They would love to do
exactly.
that. Right? Yeah.
Be gracious, man. Because I don't even know where he is anymore. So just be gracious and respectful, just for the sheer fact that your 5 minutes with me changed my perception of you for the rest of my life, Greg. Rest of my life. You will always be a prick. Joe Garagiola Sr., who's no longer with us, will always be a genuine human being that was super nice to us. And then you have Todd Walsh, okay? The guy that would comment before the show, before the game and after the game. Remember him?
Okay, yep, I do now. Yeah.
So while we were talking to Todd Walsh, where do you think his eyes were the entire time?
Looking at Nikki's breasts.
Nikki's cleavage, because she was wearing a jersey, so you could see the cleavage. And kid you not, that's how disrespectful this dude was. The entire time that we were talking to him, and it's Nikki and I and him, and he legit, every time I catch his eye, he's looking at her cleavage.
Yeah,
right in front of me.
A quick addendum, public service announcement, gentlemen out there. If you were standing in front of a woman who, especially if it's a tall woman and she's well endowed,
right?
Do your best to look at her eyes while she's talking to you.
Yes.
That's the respectful thing to do. They're a human being. They are a beautiful creature. There's no question. But that is, I agree with Chris. That is so super disrespectful. All of us want to sit there and say, yes, you're beautiful and you have, you're well endowed. It's a gorgeous.
Well endowed. Wasn't well endowed what you talk about with men, whereas women, it's you're voluptuous.
Voluptuous. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the well endowed refers to the dinglings.
Yeah, whatever. You got big tits. I mean, that's how I talk. I'm just trying not to talk that way.
Right. Now we can go further with this example and go to the Seinfeld episode where they're pitching the pilot. Remember that?
Yes.
And what's his face's daughter comes in the room and he catches George Costanza's like motorboating without motorboating his daughter.
Yeah,
and then
what
so
is she, like 16 or something?
Yeah, Russell, right? And then he flies off the handle, which rightfully so.
Yep.
You're oogling my daughter, my innocent little daughter. You're googling her, oogling her, right? So then what do the Seinfeld does? He gets Elaine, or Elaine convinces them that she can do it, right?
Yep.
And then so Elaine shows up at this restaurant and she's trying so hard. So finally she just
got the push-up bra going.
Right.
Yep.
And then he's like, Russell's staring right at Elaine, but Jerry's over here. He's like, line of sight, huh? Yup. The next episode, they have their pilot. So, that's...
We're all guilty.
Right, but it was fascinating to me to watching her documentary because it truly gave very raw and real footage of what it was like to grow up in Hollywood at the time. She had nothing negative to say about her childhood. She said she had a great childhood. She didn't miss out on anything. The people that were in the commentary with her, Perry Farrell was in it. Mark Paul Gosselaar, some of the crew from Alf and Emmanuel Lewis and Gary. I mean, just kind of anybody and everybody in that era was there.
This is on Apple?
I think it's on, I don't know where it was on. Is it Apple or Netflix or something? Hold on. I'll Google it.
Okay.
90s kid. Kid 90 is what it's called. Kid 90. It's a coming of age story. So here's the people in it: Solomon Fry, Jonathan Brandis, Justin Pierce, Leonardo DiCaprio, Harold Hunter, Johnny Depp, Mark Wahlberg's in it. Charlie Sheen. She loved Charlie Sheen. She wanted to marry Charlie Sheen, which is kind of funny. But that age, right? Her dad found out was an actual like rock star actor who was in the Marlon Brando era, Paul Newman era. Brian Austin Green from 90210, David Arquette's in there, Corey Feldman, Sarah Gilbert, Mario Lopez, Michael Rappaport, Stephen Dorff, Alfonso Ribeira, Freddie Prinze Jr., Joey Lawrence. I mean, it's a list. Mark Paul Gosselaar, Perry Farrell, Mark McGrath, Balthazar Getty, Emmanuel Lewis, Jonathan Silverman, Heather McComb, Dana Ashbrook, Charlie Johnson, Virgil Fry's her dad, some Danny Boy rapper that she dated for a while.
You can tell we lived through the '90s. I recognize every name you just
yeah,
said.
it was amazing just the amount of people that. But again, it goes along.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's on YouTube and Hulu. But it goes along with, because she just carried this camera around, and then I think 6 or 8 of them all passed away. In her lifetime, like some suicide, like one of the girls, she wrecked her Corvette, and then so a week later she blew her head off. Jonathan Brandis hung himself in a hallway. It just, crazy that the trauma that they went through, but it was all documented, which was cool, the good and the bad. And then, and she looks good for her age too, because she's around our age. It's a fascinating thing. If you grew up watching 90s sitcoms, watch that. It's an hour and a half long. It's you don't have to really watch it. It can be background noise. You still pick it all up because all it is interviews. And she recorded phone calls, dude. She recorded messages from like throughout her career. She said some context in her. She has a voice message from a manager lighting her up. Like, why are you doing that? People don't want to see Punky Brewster saying fuck.
It's funny you say that because I just got done listening to a Henry Rollins interview from like 2017 on Rogan.
Yeah.
And he documented every show he ever played from the time before he was in Black Flag.
Wow.
So like the very first band he was ever in when he was like 17. He documented the date, the time, the venue, where it's at.
Wow.
All the way through, like, he became a spoken word guy, in the 90s, late 90s maybe, and he's been doing that pretty much ever since. In addition to his music, he's documented all those shows too, and he does like 150 to 170 of those shows a year.
Right.
I thought that was fascinating. Most people don't have that. That's an OCD on a level even I don't have.
Yeah, YouTube does it. YouTube records all their shows, but they do that, I think, more from the standpoint of let's make sure we're putting the best product on stage and make sure that because you catch things live that unless you're recording it, you never can recapture that, which is why bands, it's a good idea like we did. You record your practices, whether it's audio or video, because there's things that you do when you're jamming that chances are you're never gonna grab that again because it's in the moment.
Well, yeah, I told you that was the best lesson that I ever got from the guy that taught me to play guitar. Was he just made one simple statement: tape doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So if you think you're playing good, record it, and a lot of times you'll listen to it back and go, "Ooh, yeah, that's not. It only sounds good to me. It doesn't sound good to anybody else."
Right.
Or you confirm, yeah, it sounds maybe even better than I thought it did. There's those instances as well, but you're right, man. If you have to record it and listen back to it because sometimes your ears are deceiving. You want to believe it sounds good.
Yeah, you do. And like you said, your ears are deceiving. It's kind of like being nose blind, right? You live in a house and you have your smells, and all of a sudden somebody comes to your house like, oh, your house smells, man. What is that?
Well, do you know that scientifically your nose doesn't smell anything? Your nose detects changes in smell, which is why people can live next to like a sale barn, where they sell hogs and cattle.
Yeah.
And people say they get used to it. That's true. Because your nose actually detects changes in smell. You don't smell anything. It's a defense mechanism that we have.
Interesting.
So that you don't eat something that would poison you before we knew what things were, right? You picked up that plant and it stunk and you're like, oh yeah, don't eat that.
Okay. I never knew that.
Yep.
Interesting.
The things you learn, man.
The things you learn. So do you have anything ripped from the headlines you want to chat about?
I don't know, man. I haven't really watched the news here lately.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I mean, a little bit, but mostly to see what the weather was. I've been having fun driving my new ride, man.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, going flying down the country roads.
Yeah. I actually get in the car and go for a drive here lately. And I'll give a shout out to this guy because he really inspired me to start picking up my guitar. I play every day anyway, but man,
Yeah.
I'm playing a lot longer watching this guy's YouTube channel. It's the Feedback Guitar Academy.
Okay.
If you're a guitar player and you're listening to this podcast, check this guy out. He's very he explains things in layman's terms so idiots like me can understand, and he's very passionate about what he does. I like his energy. You know, he just makes you want to play.
Right on.
Instead of talking to his audience like they're idiots, which a lot of guys do even if they don't realize it. He's very positive, you know? Like, I made all these mistakes too, and here's how I fixed them. I like people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have been watching a lot of his channel here lately.
Well, that's good.
Oh, and I ran that scenario by, I told you I work with a lady whose parents immigrated here from Mexico.
Yeah.
And I said, I almost guarantee you that she would say that your story gives her people a bad name. 100%.
Whose story?
Yours. When
Oh,
they
about the people that were blocking my line.
Yeah,
Right,
and
the
when they
bumps,
pretended that they couldn't understand a word you said. And one of the first things she said was, you know, how did they get a landscaping job if they couldn't understand the, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody reach out that just was like way pissed off when they saw that. I had somebody else reach out. Somebody I sold a house 2 years ago, Kevin Klein, who owns.
Pissed off in what context?
Well, but the landscape one, they were pissed off that I was treated the way I was treated.
Okay.
Because I wasn't being a dick.
I always want to
legit-
make sure that people are mad in the right direction.
Right. So they were pissed off how they reacted to my request to politely just move their vehicle because again, I got there and so.
Well,
put
of
in
course, her
perspective-
first question was the same question that we all had. Why did they block the pump to begin with? Right?
Correct.
If they're going to go in and sit down and eat breakfast, why did they just leave their vehicle there?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because when you go into a restaurant, you know you order, then you got 20 minutes usually for your food.
Of course.
Okay. So he was at least there for half an hour, I'd say, because by the time I walked in there, he was already probably a quarter of the way through what he was eating. So there's at least a half an hour of him blocking that. So I wasn't the first person that he blocked. And then by the time I went in and out of the restaurant while he ignored me, then came back and kind of looked at the situation. How can I get my truck maneuvered so I can get this fuel? Because again, my truck takes ethanol as well as gas. There's only 2 stations in Arizona that take ethanol. This was one of them. So if you didn't hear the story, I pulled up this landscape truck, a white dually crew cab with the world's longest trailer, was basically blocking 3 to 4 pumps on one side of this gas station with only has 12 pumps. The ethanol had 2. The one on the north side of this pump was out of order, so the south one was the only one available. So I had to figure out how to maneuver around to get to it, which I eventually did, and just extended the hose all the way across, the little concrete pad, whatever. I couldn't go up too close because some other bozo was sitting there with his truck, a delivery van that was nowhere to be seen. So it's like everybody decides, let's just park under the gas pumps so we can eat food instead of actually parking in the 12 spots in front of the restaurant, which is fine. So, but I've had people reach out that were pissed off about the fact that it's not that difficult to just, be a nice human. Now, transversely, the other fun thing that happened with the Munns Park, the tire rubbing on the white car, somebody I sold the house 2 years ago, Kevin Klein, hey Kevin, who owns a motorcycle shop in Colorado, he looks at the picture of the car and he's like, carb cleaner. I was like, what? He's like, carb cleaner takes that right off. That's the extent of the damage of that car that crazy lady is telling me, is trying to say that, damages and whatever bullshit.
Yeah, and that's basically what I saw, and I'm an idiot. I'm not a body guy, but my initial thought would be, oh fuck, But then when I looked at it again, it's like, okay, so it sucks that it happened, right? But I think I told you in a text message, that's the best of a worst case scenario, right? At least
Yep.
it can be buffed out.
Right.
And it's a body guy looked at that just like you said and went,
Yep.
"Yeah, no problem."
And he looked
right?
at it off a picture, so he's not even seeing it in person.
Right.
He's seeing it from a picture.
But if you blew that up like I'm sure he did and I did, I blew it
Yeah.
up as far as I could get it. There was
Yeah.
no dent. There's no
Nope.
paint missing. It's just
Nope.
your rubber
Yeah.
scuffed the left side of her bumper.
the passenger side, the driver's side
Yes.
rear panel, right,
Correct.
right as you pass the tire, go up to where the trunk's at, it rubbed right there. That's it, and it can be cleaned with carb cleaner.
So you don't
Yeah.
even need a body guy.
No, but according to her, she's probably walking around in crutches with a neck brace, and
And how much damage did she say was?
I don't
done
know.
to her car?
They won't tell me.
I thought she gave you a number.
I called AAA yesterday to get an update, and it's like I put the lady out who's handling the claim because she was like really short. I'm like, I'm just calling to get an update. She's like, well, if I had an update, I would let you know. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, sorry for bothering you. I just wanted to get an update, and that was that.
I can't believe that people go to that level.
I know.
For something that's that minute,
Yep.
Does it suck? Yeah. Anybody would, their initial reaction would be, ah, shit, that really sucks. But then you kind of calm down a little bit and you look at the situation and you're like, my car's not dented. The fender's still there. There's no paint missing. Okay. We're good.
Yeah.
That would have been me. By the end of it, I'd have been like, this sucks, but, I'll take care of it. It's no big deal.
Right. And that's the thing. And that's what I told her when I looked at it. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. The way you were parked aided in the fact that my tire clipped it because you're not parked in properly, which I get because it was a crazy parking lot, a convenience store parking lot. I said, but it's something can be buffed out. I didn't damage your vehicle aside from tire tread rubbing on your fender. It's nothing that's, but she wasn't having it. She wouldn't give me her name. So I ordered the police report. I'm waiting to get that. So when I get that, I'm hopefully it will shed some light on who she is and like license plate and name and all that kind of jazz. So then I have a friend whose husband's a private investigator. So I can be like, hey, go track this woman down and get pictures of her doing jumping jacks in her front yard because she is.
Right. Yeah, because those kind of people aren't smart enough to play that role all the way through. That's the long con, and that takes commitment.
Well, and just to do it with, and she had her 2 daughters there, which it's hard to tell how old girls are, but from a visual standpoint, I'm thinking, 17 to like 22 range, right? Because it's hard to tell. Like
Right.
I couldn't tell how old she was, but I'm assuming she's probably in her 40s, but acting like a 9-year-old. But that's like you're showing, that's your example to your daughters. They know you're lying.
Right.
Like you're the example, and you're specifically showing them how to try to con the system for something that didn't happen, and try to get money out of it, and in return, F over the person that you're going after. Because if the claim gets settled, then all of a sudden my insurance goes up for something that was really a 5-minute buff it out, you're done. Stupid.
People suck sometimes.
People do suck.
Or as I told you, and as Jim told us many years ago, people are strange.
People are strange when they're strangers. Yeah, I have a. This is a little fun little story.
I actually thought I understood that song, but it took me a long time to really understand it. I get it now.
The people are strange.
When you're a stranger, that's the important part of that song. Is I don't think like the rest of you. That's what he was telling us, right? I can't comprehend the way you guys are living. So people are strange when you're a stranger.
Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.
See? That's deep, man.
That's it. That's the entire context of the lyrics. That's it. He wrote 1, 2 verses and a chorus.
I know, but
That's
all it took. It
right?
took me 20 years to figure out exactly what he was saying, because you have to live that many years of your life to really get what he was saying. He had to live that many years to write those lyrics.
That's insane that it's that simple. I mean, you and I are both like, simple is keep it simple, but that's Wow.
So now I would like to call it effective, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
effective is that simplicity?
Yeah.
Because he
No
packed that
shit.
message. Just that one line to me. People are strange when you're a stranger. Just that one line.
Yeah.
That just blows by so many people. They don't get it. I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No,
man.
no, you're good, dude. But that just, I mean, I love Morrison and the Doors.
I know you do.
That blows my mind that I never realized that was just basically.
You were actually the person in my life that gave me the appreciation for the Doors that I never had because you were so rabid about Morrison at the time, and rightfully so, right? You're coming from a lyricist standpoint.
Yeah.
My dad was a big fan of Doors too, so I listened to him. But then I met you, and I'm like, oh, all right, I better give him a listen again.
Right. So this is a funny thing since we're on the Doors. So, and I've known this for years. So, the radio version of "Break On Through the Other Side" is actually has been edited. It doesn't have all the true original lyrics in it, because you have the first two verses that night day destroys the night, night defies the day. Tried to run, tried to hide, break on through to the other side.
Great song.
Right, and we chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there. But can you recall the time we cried, break on through to the other side? So, hey, yeah, come on, yeah, right? And then, everybody loves my baby. Remember this part? Everybody loves my baby. Everybody loves my baby.
She gets high.
Right, they took all that out. That's the high parts out. Like
that's no longer being played on the radio?
If you listen to the radio, you will never hear the "She Gets High" part.
I guess I never realized that because I always listen to my version on, my playlist.
Right. No, even on like the stuff you buy online, because I've bought all the greatest hits and stuff. That's cut out. It's kind of like with Creed with "What's This Life For," where Stapp no longer sings. He no longer sings "Goddamn" in the song, and on the version you buy online, they took it out. Which, we've talked about that before because he got religified again, which is cool. But so that's something he doesn't want to have with his legacy anymore. So that lyric's gone. It's just, you don't ever hear him sing, whatever the fuck it is. I can't probably, goddamn score or whatever. So
don't have to settle no goddamn
Yes,
score.
there you go. Yeah. That's the line. But that to me changes the vibe of that song because it captures the moment of his anger and angst towards the organized religion, which he struggled with for a long portion of his life when Creed became Creed and broke out,
And I guess that's why. So I have my opinions on this too, but they've changed over the years. Just like I like to say, I'm not married to any of my ideas, right? It's good to be open and like a sponge for your entire life. But I guess what I would like to say about that is, it was written, just like you said, in the right artistic context for the message of the song. It's not like he was given a middle finger to God himself or the idea of a supreme being. He was given the middle finger to the oppressive.
Right.
I have my thumb on you from his father and his mother or whoever in his family, forced him to be what he didn't feel was him at the time.
Right. Which everybody goes through. That's the teenage angst. That's why bands like Pearl Jam were so successful at their breaking point, because the entire 10 album and Nevermind, Nirvana, all that was Nevermind itself, or It Smells Like Teen Spirit, the epitome of teenage angst.
Oh.
And teenagers identified with that shit. Kind of like back in the day, they identified to the Beatles, right? And they identified to the Doors, because here's something completely out of the norm that the parents didn't like at all, because it wasn't Dean Martin.
Well, and one thing that you and I have commented that I'd like to reiterate, because not everybody listens to every show, but you can't touch Pearl Jam's 10 album. It's one of the greatest debut albums in the history of music of any kind.
Yep.
They never recreated that after maybe Verses, right? Vitology had some great songs on it. So we'll give them up to Vitology.
Yeah.
But they lost that fire. And I'm not sure it's their fault, Can you ever have that again, is what I always wrestle with in my head.
Right. And I don't think you can. I don't think the initial releases from any band can ever be as strong as the initial release. And the reason behind that, I think, which you can relate to this, is you spend how much time
your entire life up to that point.
Right. And then like the songs you have that you start playing out, 12 to 20 songs, those things are so tight and flawless by the time you get to the level of I'm going to go record these in a studio and I'm going to release an album. You've played them live thousands of times, so you know the different nuances of improv and what works and what doesn't work, the fills and shit like that, and the breakdowns and the everything.
Right.
And then you go and you turn into you record 10, and then all of a sudden you're touring these small clubs like Mason Jar, and then somebody plays Jeremy and it fucking explodes, and then all of a sudden you're going from Mason Jar to the ballroom, from the ballroom to the Celebrity Theater, from Celebrity Theater to Talking Stick Arena, from Talking Stick to Cricket in the course of a year or maybe 18 months. So your entire life gets uprooted. Right?
No, you're right. In their case, it was within 12 months.
Right, because you don't live on the road, and all of a sudden you're living on the road, and then you're forced with the label saying, because back then the label got behind you, oh, you need to write more product, you need to write more material. Well, then your point of view changes, because now all of a sudden this entire world, which used to be so far away, because before the internet, now you're in places you never dreamed of. And you're exposed to things you never thought you'd be exposed to. And then there was a time when Vedder would wear masks like, I had for COVID, because he couldn't go anywhere without being recognized and mobbed, kind of like with Elvis, kind of like with the Beatles.
So you just hit the nail on the head right there. That's the epitome of the message is you went from suffering and not knowing where, and you and I lived through it too. We didn't know where our next meal was coming from. That's why we always hail Filiberto's, because we could get a gigantic burrito that would keep us full for an entire day for $2 back in the day. That was important.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're eating caviar and trying to hide your face, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How can you write a song like I'm Still Alive, right? Because that's one of my favorites. Once is another great one.
Yeah.
Once and Alive, those are great examples of feeling where emotion or music becomes emotion out loud, right? You can feel what he's trying to say.
Right. And looking at their list, once starts that album off, which is just really
Kicks
cool.
Your ass right off the bat.
It has that dark little interlude, right? Instrumental thing.
That drum beat is outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you go to Even Flow, which I think was their first release.
Yep.
Which opened with a montage of surfing. Then Alive came next. But then when Jeremy released, that's what took them to the stratosphere. Even though I think Alive and Even Flow are better songs, I didn't.
No, you're right. Jeremy introduced him to the world, no question.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a top 10 single. Might have been number 1.
Yeah, Porch. I love Porch. What the fuck is this world coming to you? Then leave a message. At least I could have divorced someone last time.
That melody's outstanding,
right? Yeah. So let's see what.
And if you want to know what melody does for people, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that Chris just ripped that right out of his subconscious, that's what melody does for you. It forces you to remember it.
So, how many number 1 hits does Pearl Jam have? The song follows a 4-week reign of the group's Dark Matter. That's not what I asked, man. I hate the fucking Google machine. I asked basically Pearl Jam songs charted. Pearl Jam songs that charted. Let's see. Oh, okay, there it is. Maybe. Daughter, 1993 was charted. Better Man in 2005. Given to Fly in 98. And then there's 2 number 1s in 2024. Their most played song is Even Flow. 739 million plays.
I think I just said that as emotions in music form.
Yep. So it's Even Flow, Alive, Black, and Jeremy, which is interesting, right? Because they're all from 10. All from 10.
That's because you can listen to that album. You just said it from beginning to end, and there's no weak songs on that album. There just isn't.
Yeah.
Those guys wanted it like there was no tomorrow, because if most people don't know, you and I are freak music historians, but Pearl Jam came out of Mother Love Bone when their singer died
Andrew Wood.
Tragically of a heroin overdose.
Yep.
The rest of the band still wanted it on a level like there was no tomorrow, and they got lucky and found Eddie Vedder, who was equally as talented at conveying lyrics and emotion to his audience.
Yeah. There's a documentary about Temple of the Dog. You ever see that?
Yeah, I have.
So
Oh yeah.
so the coolest thing about that was when they released oh my God, Jake would kill me right now. Hunger Strike. Sorry,
Yeah.
son. When they dropped Hunger Strike, I remember the members of Pearl Jam when we talked to them about Hunger Strike is like they're like, yeah, we got a singer too, like because you're with Chris Cornell, okay, you can't
Yep.
touch Chris Cornell.
He's up there with Robert Plant. I don't care
Yeah,
what anybody
yeah,
says.
yeah. Robert Plant, Freddie Mercury, the dude, just the voice
up
was
there.
unheard of, right?
Yes.
But it was kind of neat watching that documentary where's the members from Pearl Jam, it's like when that song dropped, Hunger Strike, they realized that Vedder was just as powerful as Cornell, but just on a different level.
That's when I realized it for sure.
That
whole album. If you guys are into that kind of music, and you never heard the Temple of the Dog
Yeah,
album,
yeah.
that's another one from beginning to end that you can just listen to it over and over and over again. And fun fact, that album was recorded in 2 weeks.
Oh, 10 or no, Temple of the Dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
14 days,
Yeah.
beginning to end.
The other
They
cool
just
thing,
went in there and ripped it out.
right, the other cool thing about that documentary, and I may be blending some of the Mother Love Bone documentary into this, but they would have Cornell and Andrew Wood, and some of the other, Kurt Cobain. Who else was in the scene? Screaming Trees, whatever.
Oh, man. There's
yeah.
another great band.
Right. So they all hung out.
I
They
nearly
were-
lost you.
Right, right. But
That was their big
that
hit.
was a,
That's a great
that was
song.
a great song, right? But they all hung out and they all challenged each other to be better writers and to be better musicians. So there was conversations in this documentary where Andrew would go back to his apartment, which I think he was living with Cornell at the time in his own room, and he would work all night on his little 4-track mixture and shit, to try to one up Cornell. And then he would record whatever he did, give it to Cornell, and Cornell would be like, "Holy shit, you did that!" And then Cornell would do the same thing and then turn and give it back to Andrew Wood. So it was this dynamic going back and forth. Like, I'm going to make you better because I'm going to challenge you to write better music. And
So that example right there for the people that are religious listeners to this show is what I mean by when we used to get done playing at a show and we would talk backstage or behind the venue or whatever with other bands
Yeah.
or guys that worked for their band. Those are the conversations where we learn stuff. It's like, wow, how'd you do that? What piece of equipment are you using there?
Yeah.
Those are I call them productive conversations. I don't know a better way to put it, but
Yeah.
instead of talking about things or people or whatever, we're conveying different ideas that make all of us better. It's a friendly competition, right? That's what you just described was a
Yeah.
friendly competition. They weren't trying to say, I'm going to make more money or sell more records than you. They were like, wow, that's a really cool idea. Now, how can I make that idea better for me? Right.
Right. And yeah,
I
Alice
love
in
that
Chains was
shit.
in that mix. Right. Alice in Chains was
Yes.
in that mix too. So imagine Lane Staley, Eddie Vedder, Chris Cornell, Andrew Wood. Well, Vedder wasn't in there yet. He was still in California. But just imagine walking into a bar and seeing those three sitting at the bar talking about music and shit when they weren't even relevant in the world yet.
Right. Nobody knew who they were.
Like that would just be the coolest thing ever. And there's people that lived in that era. If they're still alive, they have those amazing stories of these three guys and all these bands and how tight they were. And it wasn't like the I've always heard like the Whiskey Row, the Rainbow Room, all that kind of shit. The LA scene
Sure.
was always like fuck you, the fights. Motley Crue is gonna beat up freaking whatever it was. Like you remember all the stupid little drama bullshit that would go on that would come out of California and all that kind of jazz because pissing on our territory type shit.
Yeah, that's why Metallica left and moved to San Francisco when they got Cliff Burton in the band because they hated that shit.
Right, because y'all have the same goal.
Right.
Like,
We're musicians. It's
Yeah.
not a sports competition, right? Nobody's winning and losing.
and you would think you'd want to embrace Metallica. Holy shit, this is a brand new sound. I'm going to be their friend because if they break, they need an opening act, and they're going to remember friends more than they're going to remember assholes.
They succeeded in spite of everyone else because they would be the first to tell you that everyone told them they were going to fall flat on their face. You're never going to make any money playing that kind of music. That's what
Right.
they were told all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think they cared. That wasn't their motivation. That's why they were successful. And we've discussed them too. It was their sheer determination to do things on their own terms, which is my motivation in life too, which is why they're one of my favorite bands. And
Right.
it's why you're one of my best friends. It's like, it's not hard to figure me out. If you're driven and you're trying to move forward and you're not, negative towards ideas or other people all the time, I'm probably going to be friends with you.
Yeah.
But that sheer will to succeed is 100% why they are one of the most successful bands on earth. It wasn't about selling records or making money. It was about having a family of friends who had the same vision that they did for the same kind of music, right?
Yep.
Same reason you and I put a band together. We didn't hear the music that we wanted to hear on the radio, so we're going to make it ourselves. That was our motivation as well.
Right.
I want to write songs that I enjoy playing. I think Free Man is as relevant as Alive is, as far as being an emotional. When you always say, jokingly, or I know you're mostly serious, but when you say you're going to let that song play, it's like, you're never going to hurt my feelings, because that song gives me the same emotion every time I hear it. That's why I know it's a great song.
Yeah.
I've heard it 100,000 times in my life now, and it hits me the same way every time.
Yeah. Agreed. I like how people react to it too.
Me too, because it's fun for us to be able to see them react to it for the first time.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we say, "Oh, that's us."
And then a lot of times they're like, "What? Really?
Really?" Like Joseph was cool. It's like, "Wow, really?"
Yeah. So that's the most fun, is to see Lemoyne react to it because he's a musician. To see Joseph react to it, he's a musician. Jonesy, these guys, they either appreciate music on the same level we do, or they're musicians themselves. So I agree, man. That's really cool.
It is. It's fun too.
That's one we're going to redo and polish up and present to the world in the right format.
Yes, because now we know how to get on Apple because of the pilot, Carl, the pilot agent, Carl Pereira, who got us in. I told him he got us into Malaysia. He was like, "No way!" Like,
True story,
dude.
Carl. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. 21 countries now, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. He was like, "Woohoo!" It was fun. And while we're on the subject, so when you come on a podcast, just be aware, boys and girls, we're broadcasting you 21 countries, and you're on YouTube as we record this. So that means anybody in the world can jump in and see your episode. We've had
and they do.
Guys.
Just so you know, we're not just saying that like one person listened to us in these countries. Austria is almost 5% of our listenership. So they actually listen to the show. It's awesome. Absolutely, it's awesome.
Yeah. Austria, who would have thought?
Yeah, that is an important public service announcement. We are live on YouTube when you come on here. We are in 21 countries. We're in about 2/3 of the states now, 60%
Yep.
And inside those states, we're in, either tens or hundreds of cities.
Right.
We won't say why we say that, but
right. Yeah.
You got to know that when you come on here.
I'm going to pause for station identification. I'll be right back.
Oh,
you keep the listeners engaged.
We are pausing for a station identification. This is the Chris and Mike Show. We are live on YouTube right now, so we welcome all of you. And we are live on Twitch. And I think that's it. YouTube and Twitch right now. You can keep in touch with us on the Instagram. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, definitely go out and do that. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you like about it or don't like about it. If you would like to be a guest, you can email us at you can email us at chrisandmikeshow@gmail.com. chrisandmikeshow@gmail.com. And the person who we're waiting to come back will contact you and give you a time and set you up to be on the show. You have to have a dedicated Wi-Fi. You can't use a hotspot, and it probably should be a cable modem or higher. We use a service called Riverside.fm if you want to go out and check it out. Other than that, like Chris said, just know that you're going to be live on YouTube for pretty much the entire episode, and those get uploaded to YouTube immediately. Well, they get uploaded as we're doing it. We had an instance where I don't think somebody knew that, so It's important to get that out there. It gained us a lot of subscribers as we started going live. So it seems like people like being there before the episode comes out. So with that said, your live episode ends up on YouTube, and then 2 weeks later, the actual podcast will drop. So I will go in and actually fix the audio. If, say you had some background noise or you had maybe a reverberation in the background, I can actually bring your voice forward so that you're level with us. And I'll put the music in, layer it underneath, and it'll actually be a polished episode in 1080p. The live episode is compressed, obviously, because it's uploading at the same time we're doing it. So that's about all on that front. Other than that, we really appreciate everybody that's found us on YouTube here lately. Within the last 6 weeks, we went from, I think, 68 subscribers to 2,000. So that's awesome. And Spotify, the numbers have been increasing. So we welcome all the people who are listening on Spotify and YouTube. And I know there's a lot of people that listen on Podcast Addict and Overcast. And so wherever, Apple Podcast, wherever you guys listen, we appreciate it. The video portion is on YouTube and the video portion is on Spotify. I don't think there's video on Apple. I've never listened to us on Apple, if I'm being honest with everybody. But I know for sure there's video on YouTube and Spotify because I've checked it out myself. The last time I checked Apple, it wasn't there. And I don't think there's video on like Overcast or Podcast Addict. That's another big one that people listen on. So if you want to watch the video, definitely hit up Spotify or YouTube. Hey, look at that. Welcome back to co-host. Yeah, this would be tough to do by yourself. I kept everybody going, but
yeah,
you really got to talk like a babbling fucking idiot.
Well, that's why when I'm doing my real estate guy moment with the real estate guy podcast, when I do it by myself, it's basically I'm just talking about certain snippets of things. Like,
well, that would be easier because you're not sitting down for like Rogan. He's sitting down for 3 hours. I noticed the couple that he tried by himself, he didn't make it even 2 hours, and he admitted to everyone later on. He's like, I think somebody asked him about that. Do you ever do these by yourself? And he said, you know what? I tried 2 of them, and they're still there, and you can go listen to them, but. He said, people like Bill Burr that do this by themselves, that's an art.
Yeah.
Basically, I just did a public service. I finished the public service announcement you had, and we went on to talk about, like a lot of people listen on Overcast, Podcast Addict, iHeart, Apple. I wanted people to be aware that there's no video there, right? So if you want to listen to the video, you have to go to Spotify, you have to go to YouTube.
Right.
People may not know that because a lot of podcasts I found on different platforms, and I didn't know that there was video on Spotify. And obviously, there's video on YouTube unless you've been living under a rock for the last 15 years.
Right. Exactly. So get up from underneath the rock, people. Get underneath from rock. Rock.
I don't think Apple supports video podcasts because his video is not there either.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've checked his out too.
Okay. Yeah, so, we're talking about music. Alter Bridge is dropping a new album, January 2026.
Yeah, that's exciting, man.
Simply called Alter Bridge.
Sweet.
Their tour is called What Lies Beneath. Then they're going on the road with Daughtry and Seven Dust. And, of course, it's the weirdest thing about Alter Bridge. They're huge overseas, man. They're huge. Like, they sold Wimbledon out 3 nights. Like, they're amazingly
Europeans
huge.
Appreciate music more than we do.
Yeah, because here they just again, I've seen Alter Bridge twice at the Marquee Theater, and it's packed. It's standing room only.
But that's what, 3,000 people?
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. It's the entire Live at Wembley record they dropped. That was the first time I saw them. That was the tour they did in Arizona. And I was blown away because it was a 2 hour and 15-minute show. Like, this is just insane. And then fast forward 18 months, they dropped Live at Wembley. The entire set list they played at Marquee was that show. And there's songs they haven't played since because they're just such rarities. But they knew they were prepping for that show.
I love seeing shows like that.
Right. But nobody knew it until they dropped it because they played with the London Philharmonic Orchestra. So they I think Metallica opened that door, personally. Because
1999.
Because S&M is by far my favorite collection of Metallica music because
the first one.
Right. Because it shows you how
powerful.
How powerful it is and whether they knew it or not when they were writing it, how it could be translated into that.
Well, I told you that funny story. I'll tell it again real quick. There's a YouTube clip out there, and I got to find these things, and I'll share them on our page. But James Hetfield is talking to the interviewer about Michael Kamen, who, rest in peace, he's dead now, but he was the conductor for the whole S&M experiment.
Right.
And he came into their dressing room while they were on break one day, and he said, this Master of Puppets thing, this section right here, he said, it's just fascinating. He said, you guys go from 4/4 time to 11/32 time to 6/8 time to 4/4 time back to this 11/32. He said, did you guys discuss this 11/32 measure right here? And James is like, we didn't discuss anything about anything that you just talked about. He said, we just thought it sounded cool, man. And he said, I felt like the biggest idiot when I had to say that, because here's a guy who's just like Joseph was, here's a guy who's educated in music, can play classical music, can write music, can notate it, can read it, has however many 100 students a month. And this is a guy who's, pouring music back out in the universe like I'll never be able to do. And that was James sitting there. He's like, I'm expected to tell this guy how my song is played, and he's an actual conductor. And he said, I just felt like the biggest moron to have to say, oh, man, we just thought it sounded cool, dude.
Right? Right? It's, but that's so that, because I'm like most people, like I liked Black, but I didn't like Black. I like the older stuff. I do like some of the newer stuff.
I love it all.
But not on a whole, right? Because that's how I am. But I think that opened the door to that because it's kind of like Unplugged.
Well, Kiss did it after them.
Right. Kiss, fucking most overrated band in the world.
Oh, they got some great songs, man.
They're a marketing machine. That's it. That's all I ever think about Kiss. Marketing. Okay, you're a marketing machine. Good job. And they did. They're brilliant at marketing because they sold their image before they sold their music, in my eyes anyway. And I know people are like falling off their chairs right now if they're watching this, and then when they listen,
no, they didn't break, and they'll never even say this. They didn't break any new ground musically, but those riffs they're etched in stone. I mean,
sure,
there's a reason that people keep going back to see them, and it's not just because I agree with you. The image had more to do with them than anything, and they'll admit that too.
Yeah, they will.
But they had no business playing with the symphony. I tried to listen to that album, and it just did not. It did not convey the same way that Metallica's did. What the S&M album did for me was just solidify how great of songwriters they were.
Yeah.
Because another thing they talked about in that documentary was how hard it was to fit the orchestra into some of those pieces because there was already so much going on with just 3 guys playing, or 4 guys playing instruments.
Right.
Almost left James out of the mix, and he's the best rhythm guitar player on the planet.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit for that.
No. He is for sure one of the best rhythm guitar players ever walked the earth, and so is Dave Mustaine.
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine invented a whole new way of playing chords that allows him to play the way he plays. So when you're an innovator that people follow from that point forward, which everybody did.
Right.
You just can't ever take that away from somebody.
No. And imagine how different Metallica would be if Dave Mustaine stayed in the band.
I don't think it would have been as big. I think the right thing happened because he's too much of a perfectionist, and I don't think he would have been able to survive with Lars in the band.
That's true.
Lars is, what do they call that? Lars is a double-edged sword, is the best analogy I can come up with. He is not the greatest drummer on the planet. He plays by feel, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that he plays by feel is what made Metallica one of the biggest bands on the planet, whether people know it or not, right? It's that little bit of difference, just like, everybody says that AC/DC has written the same album 13 times or whatever.
Right.
They
10
have.
times, and Angus said 11.
Yeah, Angus got, yeah, you've made the same album 10 times. No, actually, that's a lie because we've made the same album 11 times.
Exactly.
But it's that feel, that swing beat. Lars has
Yeah.
that swing to his beat
Yeah.
that just sucks people in. It's an innate ability that you just can't teach somebody. You can tell them how it's done, but some drummers will never have the ability to get off that metronome, where
Right.
it's tick, 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 tick,
Right.
I call it typewriter rock.
Yeah. Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones.
Charlie drugged the beat too, though. He had swing.
Right, but he was the one that kept them all in time.
Sure.
That's why they called him metronome, because he didn't waver from that shit. They
No,
tried
but
to-
he still played a swing beat, which
Well,
is why
sure.
the Rolling Stones had that, suck you in feel kind of
Right.
to their songs. I know what you're saying, though.
yeah. He just wouldn't allow the world to
My personal opinion is Metallica would not have been as big of a band if Dave Mustaine would have stayed the lead guitar player. I just don't think they would have.
Gotcha.
And we wouldn't have had Megadeth, and I'm as equally a big a fan of Megadeth for different reasons than I am Metallica,
So I never really got into Megadeth. I got in a couple songs, but I just, to me, Mustaine is not a strong enough lyricist / presence that I just couldn't get into that. Like Peace Sells was a cool song.
See, now there's a great statement.
Yeah, but for the most part, I couldn't get into Megadeth at all. I thought it was too much of a Metallica ripoff.
Well, and now you know why Metallica is one of the biggest selling bands in the world, and Megadeth is maybe sold a third of those records because there's a lot of people that have that attitude. And it's not wrong,
Yeah.
People's opinion of music is their own. It's not for me to say whether you're right or wrong because it's how you interpret it.
Right.
You and I always are going to approach music from a different angle, right? I'm coming
Right.
at it 180 degrees from you all the
Sure.
time. I'm listening to the music first and the lyrics second, which is why, back in the day when I'd be listening to certain music, either your parents or, some kind of authority figure in your life would hear you listening to things and say, wow, that person's going to be affected by that. And in most cases, I wouldn't because I didn't even know what the fuck they were saying. I just liked the music.
Exactly.
Right? I might know 3 lyrics in the whole song,
Right.
the ones that everybody knows. The rest of it, I'm jamming along to the guitar and the drum beat, and hey, that's a cool rhythm, let me see what I can do with that. I really didn't appreciate lyrics until I met you.
Oh, thank you.
That's a true story, for sure.
Oh, I believe you.
Once you and I
reminded
started
me.
writing our own songs and I saw the passion that you had for what was on that page in front of you, before
Yeah.
it's just a notebook
Yeah.
sitting in front of somebody, right?
Right.
And if you're not you don't understand that notebook is your soul on
Oh,
a piece
yeah.
of paper, right? That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
you taught me was sitting there on the couch in the apartment or whatever, just,
Right.
songwriting and hashing things out on an acoustic or
Yeah.
whatever. Those moments to me showed me what that piece of paper meant to you as a person. It's like, this is my soul on a page.
Yeah.
No
and
different
it's-
than
yeah.
that piece of music is that for me.
Right. Which is why we gelled. Which is why we meshed, because my soul, your soul, but together you get free, man.
Oh, it worked.
Yeah.
On an unprecedented level, it worked.
Yeah. That's why we got to get that shit back out to the world now. The world needs Nemesis 2.0.
That one for sure.
Yeah.
Listen
and
to
listen
Your
to your sin, Vision, Jinx, Yo Me a Pop. I would love to pull off Intervention Divine, but I don't know if that's possible without Scott.
Anything's possible.
What's Stop the World? I love that song. Window of Hell, that's a good song.
That guy that I told you I wanted to have on, Gary Romero,
Yeah.
he's one of the best drummers I've ever met. So we could probably coax him into you. He has a home studio, so he could
Okay.
record things and send them to us digitally. I'm sure he'd be down for that if he can squeeze in some time. So we
Yeah,
do
I've
know a
re-
drummer.
yeah.
I forgot
Yeah.
about him.
Right on. I've poked at some. We have some musicians coming up in September, October, or August, September, but there's some gaps still that I got to fill. It's weird how we went crazy, right? Like YouTube went nuts, and then now it just kind of got quiet. So something happened. So,
I think you fall into algorithms.
Probably.
Because when YouTube kind of trailed off, Spotify picked up a little bit. We don't have nearly as many subscribers on Spotify, but sometimes we'll go long periods of time and never pick up a subscriber on Spotify. And in the last 30 days, I think we picked up 11. So,
that's cool.
That was another thing we talked about while you were gone. I was welcoming all the new YouTube subscribers because what Chris just described is a true story, and I talked about it while he was gone. A month ago, we had, 68 subscribers, 64, and now we have just shy of 2,000. So welcome to everybody that has jumped on for the ride.
And then those of you that have jumped on for the ride that happen to be listening to this episode on YouTube, just go ahead and we need 10 more people to get to 2,000.
Well, we don't know. We're at 1,990 something. It might be 9. We might just need 1. We don't know. It doesn't show us that last digit.
Oh, damn it. It doesn't?
It probably does you because you're the page owner. It doesn't show us. It just says 1990.
Let's go to the YouTube and go to the YouTube right now, boys and girls. Which we're live on YouTube, by the way.
We are. 21 countries.
21 countries. 21 countries. Let's go to our channel. View channel.
Now that we're in Malaysia, we have literally circumnavigated the globe.
Circumnavigated. Big word.
Because Malaysia is over there on the other side of China.
1,999 subscribers.
Are you serious? We need one more person?
147,937 views of 466 videos.
Which is absolutely amazing. Thank you, everyone. You're making our vision of having this be a place that people meet and learn about different ideas come to life. So that's outstanding.
And what's really cool is Mike's going to take some time off in August, and we're going to build the website.
We are, and all this stuff is going to be on the website and more.
So what's cool about the live, because I'm on the page now, we have the testing one, which we did a month ago at 3 views. Woo!
Thank you. I was one of those people.
But today's show marks our 20th show being streamed live, which is cool.
This is number 20?
This is number 20 that's streamed live, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Gone live to the YouTube 20 times.
Right. And, our shorts. For those of you who don't know, the reason why you want to subscribe to our channel is that we have shorts that drop every day. And the shorts are different. They're never the same, but they're from different episodes that we've done. So your ability to kind of get a feel for different topics as they come across is pretty neat. So
yeah, you do a good job of giving a mix from, and I'll reinforce that. You definitely want to subscribe to YouTube, even if you're a Spotify or Apple Podcast listener, for the simple fact that Chris does a great job of digging back in the archive and showing you examples of shows you may have missed that you might say, hey, I want to learn about peptides. I didn't know that Brian Morris episode was about peptides, so now I want to do that. I like it for myself. That's why I like all your reels that you drop, because there's things I forget about too, and I was sitting here. It's like, oh, wow, I missed that.
And the reels are booked out all the way. We have 3 shorts. I'm sorry. We have 3 shorts that drop a day, and they go till August 12th. I'm sorry, August 1st, and I haven't done it for the last 2 or 3 shows, and there's still some other shorts in there that'll get set up as well. So it's kind of cool that the stuff I'm looking at that's coming up. We have stuff on there from Jake Johnson, the badass boxer, but a super cool, mellow human. We have someone who's been kidnapped. That's coming up. This conversation with Mark Jeffrey from iHeart about random things.
I didn't think about it until I was talking to one of our guests. It wasn't Yuri, but it was somebody before then. Mm-hmm. You took a break and you're like, I'll be right back. You guys talk. And we were talking about the shorts, and I said, it didn't hit me until he started posting all these on YouTube. And I went back and looked. I said, let's just say we average 10 shorts a show, which is about average. We usually do 10 to 13.
Yep.
We've done 120 shows now. That's 1,200 shorts minimum that we have sitting in our archive, just to give people an example of what kind of catalog we've developed over the last, 18 months.
Right. And what's crazy is I wasn't dropping those shorts until March.
Right.
So if there's a way to go back into Riverside.
So coming up in September is going to be our renewal.
Okay.
And I'm going to put us on the pro plan so that we don't have to have things archived. They'll just be there whenever you want to use them.
Cool. Yeah, because I still have, I'm looking at probably, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, see, they just keep multiplying.
I got a lot of, just on YouTube that I haven't set up yet. I have drafts, man. Like the truck driver's TikTok tragedy is still under draft. So I really can go in here and set up another. Wow, there's another whole. Mama K's Secret Spaghetti is a reel that has yet to drop.
Sweet.
Jeff Bezos' space mishap. Like whenever I think I'm caught up, it's like, oh shit, you're not caught up, Chris.
Tell me about it. That's why I panicked when you told me I didn't do that one episode. I'm like, I can't be that far behind.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
I panicked.
Well, it's all good. I mean, that was the benefit though, because when I went on vacation and I was gone for 7 days, we dropped like 4 shows in a row, scheduled them out.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I should have talked about when I was doing the public service announcement while you were gone, so we'll talk about it now. That's the reason when you come on, if you're a guest, that your show doesn't drop for 2 weeks, right, because we have to have a week buffer in there so that him and I can take a vacation. We have lives too. We have to be able to go out and live so we can bring you more content.
Mm-hmm. I have to go
so that's why it takes 2 weeks to drop your show.
Right. It's, sometimes I have to rub my tire tread on a car. That's content. Sometimes I got to ask a working man to move his vehicle and just have him stare at me. You know what's funny too? When I left, right, I drove around the pumps and then came up to the side, to the window where he was sitting. Still sitting there, rolled my passenger side window down and just, I don't know, for a minute just looked in. He never moved his head. He just, the entire time, the silhouette.
What an asshole.
And you can't tell me you couldn't feel my presence.
Of course you can. That's another thing that's been scientifically proven, the stupid things that I know in my head.
Right.
Over 60% of the time when they perform those experiments, can someone tell if someone else is looking at them?
Yeah.
It was like right at 60% accuracy. Yeah, you can tell when someone's looking at you.
Yeah. Or you can at least feel it. You can feel the presence.
That was the point.
Right.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Right. But just, such a dick move. And really, it wouldn't have cost him any time except for 5 minutes. And just really, I don't know. Don't be that human, man. If somebody asks you to do something and literally you can pick up what you're doing without affecting your life for 2 minutes and make that change. Because really, I could have let that too. I could have let that totally affect the outcome of my day because the guy was a total piece of shit.
Well, here's what I'll add to that. If someone makes a reasonable request like Chris did of this person, he wasn't a dick at first, right?
No.
Nor would I have been. I always start off trying to be the nice guy.
Yeah.
Give me a logical explanation as to why you can't fulfill my request, and I'll listen.
Right.
But you can't just sit there like a fucking bump on a log and pretend that I'm not there or that I wasn't talking.
Right.
That's rude, disrespectful.
Right. And I'm the furthest person from racist in the world, as is Mike.
100%.
I'm learning to speak Spanish because when I go to countries where they speak Spanish, I want to be able to speak Spanish. It's their language. I respect that. If Nikki and we're going to go to Italy at some point in time, so I will go on Duolingo and I will start learning Italian because to me it's a respect thing. I'm going into your country, Mexico, so I should have the respect enough of me of a human being and to respect your primary language
on a basic level, for sure.
Right. Just for nothing less than just to be able to minimally communicate. I mean, like legit. I conversational Spanish I can pull off just because of Duolingo and my foundation from high school with Miss Alonso's Spanish class, right? She would never let us speak English in class. Once we walk in the door, we had to speak Spanish, right? It was so frustrating, but
Yep.
I mean, it is
En
what it is.
Espanol, Miguel.
Right.
I was Santiago.
I was Paco. I was Paco.
You were Paco?
I was Paco. You know why I was Paco?
Santiago.
Do you know why I was Paco, man? You remember
Why?
the movie Bad Boys with Sean Penn and Isai Morales?
Oh, yeah, that's a great movie.
The Chicago-based movie?
Yep.
The opening scene, I'm going to paint the picture. Opening scene, it's not one of the opening scenes. It's within the first 10 minutes. Sean Penn and oh, fuck me. The dude, his partner in the movie, the beginning of the movie, was the dude that played Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You see him?
Yeah, I don't remember that guy's
I don't remember
name.
his name either.
I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah. So they're driving in this like beat up Oldsmobile, flying through Chicago streets. Billy Squires' song's on. What the fuck was the song? Was it In the Dark?
Oh, great song.
It fit perfectly with the scene, like perfectly with the scene. And then they were robbing these drug dealers, and chaos ensued, and that's kind of took down the whole bad boy path of juvenile facility in Illinois, you know. But that's so Isai Morales' name in the movie was Paco, and I liked the movie, and I was like, oh, what's your name, Chris? Oh, it'd be Paco, and she's like, no Cristobal, no Paco, me llamo Paco.
You know why I had to be Santiago?
Why?
Because some other dick in my class got to be Miguel because apparently he had a better last name or some shit, you know?
That's funny.
I'm not going to call him up, but he's already Miguel.
No.
Okay, I'll be Santiago.
Yeah, that's, you know.
One of my first.
You can't have Miguel.
Not one of my
couldn't have
first
Miguel.
lessons, but right up there in one of my first lessons in that sometimes it's just better off to take the discretion is the better part of valor, right?
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't a battle I was willing to fight, but it still pissed me off.
No. Yeah, I can see that. Well, because it's your name, you know?
Yeah, I want to be Miguel.
Yeah.
That fucker
So-
ain't better than me.
I was listening to Sirius. I don't know. I've been listening to spa music when I drive, but I was listening to something, and they were doing like a top something list, like top 10 movie songs that captured the moment. And you and I have talked about this, which is why this stuck in my head. The movie The Warriors.
Yes.
The end of it when they're coming over the mountain, which is not really a mountain, come over the hill, and then they hit the beach, and
More
then,
like a dune, right?
right, and the dune, and then the first note of "In the City" hits, and then the camera pans out, and you know you get the right, just you feel it, and you get tingles because it's the fucking DJ on Sirius XM said it described the exact same scene before that song played, and I'm like, finally, somebody
Right on.
else recognizes
vindicated.
the power of music on a level like that. That because when I hear In the City, I automatically think the Warriors, right?
You know, I've had that conversation with so many people, and you just see that light bulb go off over their
Yeah.
head. I ask one simple question. Imagine TV or movies with no music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, man, I never thought about that. But
Right.
yeah, it would suck.
You imagine Superman flying without Superman music? He's just flying with a cape in the air. You know?
It's like, what the hell are we watching?
Yeah, it's just some random dude flying in the sky.
But when you hear, dun, 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 dun,
But
oh, that was Star Wars, but
you know it. But same
Yeah.
thing though.
yeah, imagine Star Wars without that song.
Imagine Darth Vader coming through the door with nothing, just
Right.
walking. It's so you've seen the stuff where they can isolate vocals, right? They can take the music out of the vocals, like they did Ozzy's "Mama, I'm Coming Home"
Yeah.
with his final
Oh,
show,
yeah.
which I thought was like bullshit. Like, leave the man alone. But do you think they could be able to take the music out of a movie scene and just see
Oh, I'm sure they can.
how dramatically affects it?
To be honest with you, I think this popped into my head because I swear on one of my rabbit holes, they did it with a sitcom, and it was The Big Bang Theory in particular, if I remember, without the
Okay.
laugh track. How stupid that show really is.
Yeah.
And they suck you into. And I like The Big Bang Theory. I'm as guilty of being sucked into it as
Sure.
anybody else. But man, when you watch it without that
Laugh
little laugh track and the music in the background, it's just kind of like, why is that funny? You know?
Well, yeah. Well, Seinfeld had a laugh track.
Yeah, of course it did. And that would be, a lot of those would be equally as stupid
Right.
without the time. Most of theirs was comedic timing, though.
Right. The Office had no laugh track. The Office wasn't filmed live. There was no
The Office is the same way as Seinfeld. The comedic timing is what makes it. You know, it's how Michael says it. It's when he says it. It's the inflection in his voice. You can't. That's another thing you can't teach, right?
Right, but what I'm saying is, The Office, there is no laugh track. No. There's no live studio audience. It's just we have these cameras. It's kind of like Parks and Rec. We have these cameras.
It's supposed to be they're following us around like a documentary,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Scrubs.
Yep.
So check that out. The people who created Scrubs, Parks and Rec, The Office, and St. Dennis, which is I think a Netflix show. All the same guys, and the whole concept is it's a documentary. There's no laugh tracks. There's no live studio audience. It's just
but purely. They have such great writers, man.
They do, right? And you're relying on the actors to fill the gap of no laugh track and no studio audience.
Create these characters that are. When you say Dwight Schrute, you know that character, right? When you say Pam, everybody, fell in love with Pam as the secretary.
Yep.
When you say Michael, you know the goofy office manager guy who doesn't really have a clue, and it's his team that supports him. And it's not an accident that you and I, as fans, automatically know each character.
Mm-hmm.
That just tells you how great it is. Same thing with a song that gets stuck in your head. You know? That just proves the artist had the right vision of conveying their message because it got stuck in your head.
And see, that goes back to development, right? Like labels, there's no labels anymore to develop those bands, to develop those artists, to get them to the level where Metallicas are at and the Pearl Jams are at. And they don't back them anymore. And then it's the same thing with TV, right? Because America's attention span is so small.
Sitcoms were the same way. They used to give them development deals, and you would have a season or maybe a half a season to try and gain some traction. They'd give you 9 episodes, and if that did well, then they would pick it up for the back end, is what they called it. You'd get the other 12 episodes or whatever it was for that year.
Right. Like The Office. The Office pulled off of the English version of The Office, and their first season was only 9 episodes.
Right. That's usually the standard development deal is 9 episodes.
I think Seinfeld's first season was 5.
It was
5 or 7.
5 or 6.
Yeah, it was small. And that first season of Seinfeld sucked. Like
going back and watching it, I never watched the first season anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I don't watch the first or second because they just suck. They're so bad because they're developing it. They're finding their.
That's why I thought I hated Seinfeld when you and I were in Nemesis in the 90s. I'm like, that show sucks. Well, that's because we were there in the beginning, and it kind of did.
Yeah. Cheers sucked for the first couple of years, man, because you're building things up. Cheers wasn't Cheers until probably the 5th or 6th season, where it finally got its roots planted, and you had all the characters developed, and it was the Thursday night thing. Then all of a sudden it was, Cheers and ER and whatever else was on.
It's being invested in those characters. One of the funniest stories that I tell is when I was living with Kevin, and it was me, Kevin, and Nick, and on Wednesday night, 3 of the manliest men, like women, smoking pot, going out, drinking, having a good time. Wednesday night, we had all these people come over, and it's like, everybody shut up, 90210 was on.
Right.
Shut the fuck up, because we can't see this again, right?
Yeah, 902 and followed by Melrose Place.
Oh, yeah. And that was the same thing. Show's on. So here's all these macho guys sitting around, and Kevin had one friend who was a female that would come over.
Yeah.
But that was it. There was like 7 guys and Suki sitting there, and it's like, shut up, show's on.
Yep. I remember that. I remember the funny stuff.
Because we were invested in the storyline and the characters.
The characters,
90210 sucked in the beginning, too.
Yep, it did.
But you just hit the nail on the head. There's no time to develop that kind of. We're doing it organically here, but we had to we're our own producer and production company. So
sure.
And it still took that time that you just described to develop some traction.
Yep.
We went along with 100 people watching us forever.
Right. And that's the thing too. Like when people on the podcast platforms are on Facebook, when people will post stuff on there, and you probably see me respond. Yeah. Oh, just passed 100,000 subscribers and this many views. And so my comment is always, did you do it organically or did you pay for it? They never answer.
Or if you go and look, sometimes they've been doing it since 2006.
Right.
Right. So in 20 years, you got 100,000 subscribers.
Right. But the ones that don't answer are the ones that pay.
Right.
And to me,
that's a fact.
Right. And to me, if you pay for followers and pay for subscribers, they're not organic. They're not real. They're bots. It's because we get hit up all the time, and I tell them all, like, go fly a kite, go find somebody else, go play in somebody else's sandbox, because we don't want to develop it that way. It means
I
more.
like the guy that you said you pay us, and then if we get the results that you desire, we'll give you your money back.
Yeah. And he was like, "What?" And I was like,
That was
the
best one ever, dude.
Wasn't I clear? Like, you give me money, and then you do the work, and if I see the result, because I said that too.
I laughed so hard when I read that. I'm like, I love you.
It's just because I want real, authentic followers. Because
I know, me too.
When I first started doing Instagram, when Instagram wasn't really a thing yet with real estate stuff, I got hit up all the time with that stuff. Oh, 5,000 followers by the end of the day. I was like, well, but are they going to be real followers? Well, it's just numbers. Well, no, I don't want bullshit. Because then the bullshit ones, they fall off, right? They disappear. How many days later or how many weeks later, then those profiles were fake. So then they're gone. And then all of a sudden you don't, it's kind of like Facebook. Every now and then you go into Facebook, right? And I'll go and clean up my friends list because some of the profiles end up having the pictures gone because they were bogus to begin with.
Well, you know how much of a nerd I am, and I have to know the real answer to whatever question somebody's asking or the one I'm asking of myself.
Right.
And I asked the same question of myself about, okay, if I pay for these subscribers, what's going to happen? And if you watch enough of those YouTube videos of these people that have millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands, they will tell you that the mistake they made was doing what you just said. Because if you have too many subscribers and no views to show for it, it kills the algorithm.
Right.
So all of a sudden it kicks you to the bottom. It's like, actually, it's a negative connotation then because you have 100,000 subscribers and you're getting less than 100 views on every show you put out. The algorithm doesn't like that, right? AI's like, no, I don't understand. Evidently, their content sucks because they have 100,000 subscribers and no views.
And another interesting thing about AI and YouTube, effective July 1st, which was 17 days ago, your content on YouTube, if it's not real, i.e., what Mike and I are doing,
this is
has real people, real faces, real voices, real human voices, real human interaction.
Am I a real person?
Sometimes, depending on the matrix.
Pinocchio.
But the ones that create content that's fake, that use AI to create using AI to create content, the YouTube spiders, Google spiders, they're not going to recognize it anymore. So if you're not real like this, your content's not going anywhere because it's not going to recognize it being real. So that way it will do what Mike just mentioned about the fake followers with not enough views. You're going to get pushed down to the bottom.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, because think about it. You can't tell some stuff now from reality and AI. I mean,
okay. So with that said, have you heard of that? That's great. That just triggered this memory. Cool. Have you heard of these bands on Spotify now that are blowing up that are AI?
Yes. But that's Spotify. It's not YouTube.
But I think that's YouTube. Now that you say that, I think that's YouTube's way of combating that happening to them, because I had actually heard of one of those bands on Spotify, and I'm like, that can't be a fake band.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it's insane.
So it's somebody sitting at their laptop like me that's being nefarious and saying, I can create a whole band, and you can. If you're Lemoyne, you can sit here with my MacBook Pro, and he can make it sound like Van Halen by himself with never picking up an instrument.
Right.
I have every instrument I need inside that Studio One program that I use here.
That's amazing.
And because I know how to play, and because he knows how to play, he can say, I want an A chord, a G chord, and a D chord, and I want it to go this many times on this measure, and I can keep charting it out until the song's done, right?
Yeah.
So somebody did that with an entire band, named it, gave it members, and put it up on
Spotify,
that's awesome.
And made money.
Yes. I think that's awesome.
It's awesome, but it's also not awesome because you're taking the authenticity of what makes a musician away. Because the whole reason, every successful band, right? Everybody that's out there in the upper echelons.
But am I, because it's me?
Well, wait, let me finish all right. Let me finish my thing here. Every band who is filling stadiums and arenas and shit like that, they paid their dues. Okay. Right? Like we paid our dues. So then you take somebody who's sitting in front of a computer one night and he creates an entire band, and then spends a couple weeks creating an entire set list of 12 songs and puts it up on Spotify, it's Milli Vanilli artificially, and make money and blah, blah, blah. And then they finally get called out. You're not a real band. They just hoodwinked however many people. So to me, it's not genuine because you're just showing the world.
But I'm going to make my same argument.
Okay.
What if it's me? I'm a musician.
There's validity there because you are a musician, but then
what if I wrote all the music on my computer and I sent it to you and you sang the song? Does that make it any less of a song?
No, because but it's a real person singing the songs. I mean, you created the music, yes,
but I never played an instrument.
But you know how to play instruments.
That's my argument.
Right.
What if that person's the same way? What if Lemoyne sat down and created his whole band in his head and put it up there as a fake band and it took off, which it very well could be, just like his album's doing right now because he's a talented individual. Yeah. What if Lemoyne sits there and it's a cold winter in Illinois and he can't get out for 3 months and he's like, I got this vision. This guy, he's like this kind of singer and I always wanted this kind of drummer, and he just dreams it up in his head like you would write a book, right?
That's a valid point. Okay.
And he sticks it up on Spotify and it blows up and he's got 20 million subscribers a month because he wrote such damn good music, but he never played an instrument.
I'll give you that. I agree with that then. Okay. So that's no different than the producers behind boy bands and shit, right? So yeah, I'll give you that. I can see that point of view now.
You can argue both sides of it. Yeah. I'm not saying that either side is wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion.
But that's a valid point that I wasn't even thinking about. So that from that aspect of it, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Because at first I was thinking exactly like you just did, and I had to break it all the way down to the nub, as I say. And I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, if I sat here on my MacBook Pro and I created a whole band in my head and it blew up, and then all of a sudden everybody's saying that I'm not legitimate, I'd be fucking pissed. I'm like, of course I'm legitimate. I'm the one that wrote the songs, put them up there, and people love them, right? I got 20 million subscribers a month. How's that wrong?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. I'll give you that. I agree with you then. You've changed my mind. Good job. Get your calendars out, boys and girls. Mike changed my mind. It's a valid point, though.
It happens occasionally.
And that's a good place for us to wrap the show up today because, I got shit to do. You got shit to do. And, again,
mostly go pee if we're being honest.
Okay. Well, you got to start somewhere, So, our next show, just to see who it is, we were supposed to have Terry Devine on, so we will poke at Terry and make sure that he joins the show. I don't remember what Terry's about, so I'm not going to elaborate on that, but to the survivor out there, Katie, I don't know what happened today, but I messaged you and you just didn't respond. So hopefully everything's okay in your world and you just had a snafu.
Yes, we wish you well, Katie, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but she sounded like an interesting conversation because she did dub herself the survivor from something. Not really sure what survivor or what because, we didn't have her on the show.
Well, you guys got to listen to two survivors here, so.
You did. And hey, again, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all the podcasting platforms, as Mike alluded to. Also Twitch, because we record this and it's YouTube and Twitch live.
Correct.
We are working on a website, chrisandmikeshow.com. So we'll get that up and running. Be patient with us. Thank you. It's just two of us and we have real lives aside from this.
Yes.
Anything else you want to share before we jump ship? It's 11/11, which is kind of cool,
Here's an interesting fact that I thought you would appreciate.
Okay.
Because you like interesting facts.
I do like interesting facts.
You know how we talked about I'll make this quick, but you know how we talked about the airplane and we found out from Carl the airplane crashes are not really more than we thought they were?
Yes.
As far as flash floods go, it's actually way worse than I would have anticipated. So now they're going to call this the year of the floods. So far, there have been 4,400 flash flood reports, and the average year to date is 1,900.
Wow.
So we're, 3 times? Almost. 2.5.
That could be because the Earth is moving at 0.000000005 milliseconds faster.
It is. That's going to add up over time, though.
It is really, and then they found another world that's just like ours, but it's so far away it doesn't matter. Which I don't know why they tell us that shit. Like, oh, we found another world called Andromeda over here in the other galaxy. Okay, why? Who cares? We're not, unless you're gonna beam me up, Scotty. Who cares?
I think
ahead.
that possibility is there.
I think
they're going to be able to fold space and time. I think we're going to finally learn that time is way different than we think time is linear. I don't think time is linear.
I don't think time's linear.
Right?
No.
Once they can figure out why time is not linear, and if they can fold space and time, all of a sudden, instead of 480 light years to get to the next planet, it might be 6 months because you can zap through this wormhole.
Yeah, and I was watching this documentary, I think last week. I think it was called Back to the Future, where this scientist, he had developed a time machine, and it propelled his friend.
I'm going to tell you why that's not possible.
Yeah, he propelled his friend.
Because DeLorean quit making cars. And I love your example, though.
Yeah. And there
I
you go.
watched this documentary. There's 3 parts to it.
There is. Actually, there's 5, I thought.
No, there's only 3 Back to the Future.
Oh, I thought there was 5. Okay.
The third one's where he goes out west that I'm not real
that's
fond
right.
of.
I just, the first one, the first one was good.
The second one was good, too.
The second one was decent from the fact that if you go watch the second one, you're going to see all kinds of relevance to our world today.
Correct.
Which is a trip. Which is a total trip. Talking to a TV on the wall, which, we talk to Siri all the time. So that's a trip. So
Talk to your car now.
Right. Yeah. I had someone I know that has one of those Rivian trucks, those electric trucks.
Yeah, they make them right down the road from where I live.
Okay. And you get in there and it's Alexa brain. And he's like, I just tell Alexa, take me home, and I buckle up and that's all I got to do.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. There's a Waymo graveyard in my part of town, because the Waymo break down more than people think, and they're lined up side to side, bumper to bumper.
That's the driverless car company.
Right.
Okay.
They're all Jaguars, but they have so much issues with them that legit there's a graveyard where they just cycle. They break down, they break down, and they're Jags. So the vehicle itself is fantastic. It's a Jaguar. Right?
You know why I think that is, real quick?
Why? Yeah, yes, please.
Because I don't think it's the technology. I think that the infrastructure is not ready for that advanced of technology. If you look at how broken down our infrastructure is, and now that I'm driving this car that basically drives itself for a gas-powered engine, it's not like an electric car, but it's got sensors all over it, right? So it sees the lines on the road until the lines on the road are not there enough or not there at all, right?
Yes.
You go to other countries, and that's the reason they have real thick lane lines and stuff like that, so that their cars will drive themselves where they need to go. It's very helpful if your infrastructure is up to par.
Agreed. Well, but you don't want the infrastructure in the back country roads of Illinois, because it takes the character away from that shit.
Well, I can still.
At least I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Because I learned how to drive in Illinois, in those back roads of Illinois, and I can remember that vividly. I don't want lane lines on country roads. I want barren country roads with country roads. Take me home to a place
but in the city where you're
West
talking about
Virginia.
driverless cars, you would think that. And Phoenix is pretty advanced as far as not being a broken down road system.
Oh,
it's still aging,
right? You haven't been here in a while. It's ridiculous.
They're breaking down now.
They're widening the 202. Okay, they built the 202 in 2003, 4, 5. Okay, on my side, the Santan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they're widening.
The other side opened up when I first moved there.
But they're widening it, and so they're widening the bridges. It's the stupidest thing, man.
They're doing the same thing here.
It's just
Route 80 has been under. Here's an example of how. Here's an example of how sometimes I really believe, and I can't prove this, so I'm just speculating. Don't sue us. How unions kind of screw things up sometimes, and I am the vice president of my local union, so it's not that I'm anti-union.
Right.
They literally have been working on the section of Route 80 since 2016, and in that same amount of time, the state of Michigan has done I-94 for 168 miles in both directions, including the overpasses.
Wow.
The state of Illinois has been working on widening this one section of Route 80. Now, it is a massive engineering project. I'm not saying it's not. It's massive. Just like you're describing, adding lanes to an interstate is not just as simple as laying down a strip of concrete, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But come on now, people.
Yeah. Yeah. Do better, Illinois. Do better. Do better. Like if you're going to build roads, you're building roads because you know the population is coming. So build for the population you know that's coming instead of baby stepping it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't let the bad days win. Somebody loves you. Somebody will miss you. Don't leave a hole in somebody else's heart because you decided to take your own life, and you know it's not worth it. So talk to somebody. Reach out to Google Machine. There's always somebody that will listen to you. Somebody will help guide you through the problem that you're having. Take a nap. Meditate. Journal your feelings. You'll find that tomorrow is a better day when you wake up and start fresh. For Mike Michaels, I'm Chris Dunham. This is the Chris and Mike Show. Thank you so much for listening, allowing us to do this little podcast thing that's Mike's dream to take over the world. We're getting there inch by inch.
World domination.
As Brian Morris says, inch by inch is a cinch, right?
Yard by yard is hard.
Yard by yard is hard. Until next time, people, nothing but love. Love you, brother.
Love you too. Peace.
Peace.